What is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So excited to make this video today as I promised in my case series starter replacement video. Well, here you have it, your electrical 101. Here we have a 2011 Honda Civic with a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine. Also applies from 2006-2011 Civics with a 1.8 liter. Okay, so the owner stopped with a reman starter. He said that it was diagnosed with a bad starter. So I just followed orders in this, replaced the starter, still same problem, no start. So you always want to start with the fully charged battery. Get your multimeter and set it to DC voltage. Then hook up the leads. Red to power, black to ground. We got 12.16 here, perfect. After that, you want to go ahead and locate your fuse box. Hook up your test light to the battery and go over your fuses one by one. You can see that red light, that means I got power there. I checked them all prior to recording, I know they're good. So I'm just gonna slap the cover back on. And go on my way find the next fuse box, which on this Civic it's under the steer wheel here. So pop that cover off. It's held on with these white plastic clips here. You just pull on the cover and it comes off. And here we have it, your interior fuse box. Same thing, you want to go over all these fuses one by one, which I did, they're all good. So next you want to locate your starter relay, which on this vehicle it's that black relay on the right side. I swapped it with the left just to rule this out. Well, still same problem, no start. So our issue is a little bit bigger here. We made sure all our fuses are good, our starter relay is good. So I used the friend sit inside the car while I went straight to the starter looking for a power signal whenever he turned that key to start. But I wasn't getting any signal there. So this is where the problem starts. We're not getting a signal to activate the starter. So to explain this more clearly for you guys, follow me to the bench here. That's our old starter that I took out of the Civic. I'm gonna explain on it what I mean by not getting a signal. So here you're where your power signal wire connector goes to, which I didn't have power every time he tried to crank the engine. And here you have your battery power cable. It's held on with a nut and it has a rubber boot on it to prevent shorts. This should have power at all times. Battery voltage. I also had good ground on the starter surface. So we have good ground, we have good power, but I wasn't getting that power signal that activates the starter motor. Now I know that I got a little bit more complicated issue than just a bad starter, but I'm still gonna go ahead bench test it for you guys because your case might be different. Well, I have a spare battery next to me. Go ahead, connect a jumper cable to it and ground your starter on the starter body and connect your power side where your battery power cable goes to and have another third one. If this starter is good, when I give it the signal down there in the connector, the starter should start. Let's see. You guys can see, here you go. Alright, let's get this car back on the road here. On this model you can bypass the system by simply just supplying voltage straight to your starter with this wire here right behind the brake reservoir. You're gonna find a one wire connector, red in color. Go ahead, disconnect that. So this is basically the same exact wire that is going all the way down to your starter. So put your ignition on inside the car so your fuel pump is activated and your ignition system is activated, and go ahead supply battery voltage to this wire here. and it starts. So I know that the wiring from up here all the way down to the starter, which lives in the back of the engine under the intake manifold, they're good. So my problem starts from inside of the car here. Now I'm going after the ignition switch. I've seen them fail quite a bit over time on these Hondas. So make sure your key is out the ignition. And then we need to get this lower steer wheel cover off. It's held on by screws from the bottom. And then pull in your cover down. And now we have access to your ignition switch and connector. Well, it has 5 wires here, as you can see on the screen. The white wire should be powered at all times. And then a yellow wire responsible for the starter. That's the one we're gonna be focusing on. And you also have blue, red, and orange responsible for your HVAC system, accessory, and stuff like that. So you wanna get a multimeter, and while having the connector connected to your ignition switch, go ahead, test the voltage on the yellow wire while trying to crank the engine, which I did. I had power on it. That means my ignition switch is good. So this narrowed down the problem a lot here. You can also check that on your fuse box there. You can see we got that white, blue, yellow, red, and orange, the same 5 wires that on the ignition switch. So you can also make your test there. So after narrowing it down, here you go guys. This little guy here, this is our problem here. Your clutch pedal safety switch. What it does is when you push on your clutch pedal, it pushes on that black pin on the switch, letting the car know that your foot on the clutch pedal. So if you forget it in gear, it won't jump when you crank the engine. So let's connect this back here. I want to explain more clearly to you guys what it does. So here's the switch here. When I push it all the way down, it's exactly the same if I have the pedal down. And now try to start it. Here you go, starts. Try to start it without pushing, nothing. And then push it, starts. Good stuff, man. We ain't gotta wait for the parts store. Just needs adjustment here. So go ahead, thread it on your clutch pedal bracket. Right down that hole there. And we need to adjust it to the point that when we step on the clutch pedal, it pushes on that black pin 3/4 of the way in. Not all the way in, so it doesn't break the switch. Just 3/4 of the way, so it functions. Keep working on it till you get to the sweet spot. And tie in your locking nut with a wrench so the switch doesn't back out. Don't forget your connector, and let's give it a try, guys. Here you go. So go ahead, step on your clutch. And here you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget like, subscribe, and stay tuned for a couple more videos still in the editing process. We'll see you next time.